It is our practice to light a chalice at the start of each gathering as the symbol of the living tradition of Unitarian Universalism. We also invite everyone at home to light a candle with us as we share our chalice lighting words. We are all flames when we gather hand in hand. Our church, our community, our home. We inspire, we celebrate, we come together, sharing our light of hope for our shared future. As we kindle this flame, may it spark in each of us connection and commitment to this living tradition and to each other. And now we will sing hymn 347, Gather the Spirit.
Harvest the poor, our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, our trials in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again.
Hey, bud, do you
Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined. With body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather to celebrate once again.
Our time for all ages.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday morning worship. My name is Matthew Shinneman, and I am the Director of Lifespan Faith Development here at UUCY. It's a pleasure to be with you. The story that I'm going to share with you is actually one of my favorites. It's a favorite of many UUs across this country. It is called A Lamp in Every Corner, and it is by Janine Grosmeyer. Many years ago, in the land of Transylvania, in a mountain valley that was watered by quick rushing streams and shadowed by great forests of beech trees, was a village of small houses made of wood and with dark shingles on their roof. The people who lived there, they were of the Unitarian religion, but they didn't have their own church. And they decided that they want to build their own church up on a hillside, looking down on the village the way a mother looks down on her sleeping child. So they all got together and they labored long and hard to build themselves a church. The stonemasons hammered out blocks of stone to build strong walls, and the glaziers made tiny pieces of tiny panes of glass for the windows. And the foresters sawed down tall beech trees for the beams and the trusses of the ceiling, and covering the roof with wooden shingles tightly laid so that not a drop of rain would get through. The carpenters, they carved wood doors that hung straight and square. A bell was brought in from a faraway city and hoisted by ropes up to the top of the tower, probably right up in here. And the weavers, they wove fine cloth for the altar table, and those cloths were embroidered with flowers and edged with lace. The smiths, they hammered black iron into tall lampstands and hammered thin bronze into shining oil lamps. And finally, when the building of the church was done, the painting of the church could begin. The painters came in, they mixed all these bright colors, royal red and shimmering gold and brilliant blue, and everyone in the village, young and old, they all came together to decorate their church. They painted flowers and trees and designs around the windows. And at the end of the day, when it was finished, when their church was finally built, all of the people of the village stood back and admired it. And then they began to sing this song of happiness and praise. Their village now had a church. The church set up on the hillside, looking down on the village like a mother looks down on a sleeping child. One of the elders announced, "All right, it's time to eat, and then later tonight we'll all come back to pray." So all the people went to their homes and had supper, all except for two. There was a little girl named Zora and her father who stayed behind. They had packed some bread and cheese to eat. So they sat out on the hillside, eating slowly, looking down at the beautiful village, looking back up at the beautiful church, and admiring how beautiful it was. And after they ate, they decided they wanted to go back inside and take a look. And Zora cried out, "Ah, Father, it's so grand!" And her father, looking at the church with pride, said, "Yes, it is." "Oh, but Father," Zora said suddenly, "we haven't finished it." "What do you mean?" said her father. "Well, all the tall iron lampstands. There are no lamps. The church is going to be dark when everyone gets back." "Oh, no, little one," said her father. "The light of the church comes from its people. You'll see." So he went to the rope and he rang the bell to call everyone back to worship. And then he took Zora outside. And they waited on the grassy hillside next to their beautiful church. And as the sun began to set, in the distance, tiny little points of light started coming from all different directions. And Zora's father pointed and he said, "You see all those lights? Each family is entrusted with a lamp, and each family lights its own way here. Your mother will be bringing our family lamp." And as the lights moved closer together, they moved into one stream, all headed in the same direction, all the way up the hillside, up the path to the church. And soon, the church was ablaze with light in every corner, because all of the people of the village had gathered to pray and to sing. And through the entire worship service, Zora just watched the lights flicker and glow, and she watched her family's light most intently. And when the service was over, her father lifted her up, and they took their family lamp from the stand, and they brought it back home with them, using it to light their way from the church back down the hill and into the village. And then they set the flame in the lamp next to the fireplace in their house on a table. "Mother," Zora asked, "Father said that the light of the church comes from its people." "That's correct, Zora. But also that the people take their light from the church, and we have that light every day." "That's correct," said her mother. "And even when we're not in church, even when the lamp is not lit, we carry the light of truth and love in our hearts to show us the right way to be. That light will never go out." "Never?" asked Zora. "Never," said her mother. "And this bronze lamp will last for many, many years. And when you are grown, we will give you a bronze lamp. And when your children are grown, you will give them a lamp. And all of you will carry it back and forth to the church every time." "But there's only one lamp," Zora said. "So make another. Let the light grow. And someday tell your children to make more lamps. But now it's time to sleep." And Zora closed her eyes and drifted into dreams, and her mother looked down upon her sleeping child. Now you see, the years passed and Zora grew, and the bronze lamp came into her care, and she kept it clean and polished. And when the bell rang out in the valley up here at this church, she carried the lamp all the way back. And when the time came, she made more lamps and gave them to her children, who made more lamps and gave them to their children. And so it went on through the years, even until today. Now you see, this was their village's spiritual home. But it could only be lit by the love of all the families coming together. And that is what church truly is. It is all of us coming together, bringing our love and our warmth, because that is how we truly light the way forward in community. And then when we leave church, we take that light with us to guide us while we are away. I hope you will remember how important the life of this church is in your family's life, and how we as a church survive through your light. Blessed be, and amen.
My soul, I lived in someone else's life. I'm turning into concrete, harder than these city streets, where no one even cares if I'm alive. I gotta get it right. Gotta get it right. There's a place that I know where they all know me. I gotta get back now to the ones who love me. Wrap myself around you, never let you go. There's nothing in the world that feels like the place that I know where they all know me. I gotta get back now to the ones who love me. Wrap myself around you, never let you go. There's nothing in the world that feels like coming home. Home. breathe. And not even a memory is good enough to get me through the night. I'm longing for the real thing, people who know the real me, and all the ways to love me back to life. I gotta get it right. Get it right. I'm feeling lost in all the madness. I need somewhere to ease my mind. Gray sidewalks filled with different faces, so many places, but there's none like mine. I'm coming home.
A House for Our Dreams, a poem by Dory J. Summers. We, all of us, build houses for our dreams, the masonry and lumber, glass and tiles. It starts with a blueprint, the plans, the foundations, the cornerstones. It's a solid form wherein we see our hopes, a shelter and protection for our growth. This house shall be a dwelling place for courage, for integrity, for love. Engendered, nourished by a family that speaks of we, but means all humankind. These walls shall present the privacy and dignity of individuals. The open doors, a welcome to all people, all ages, and all generations. The windows shall keep light of inquiry, illuminating from both outside and within us. May all words spoken here be born of love, and all energy rekindled in the hearts of those who dreamed this house, who plied the tools, who paid the price to actualize the dream. May dreaming never cease for those within, who know the world to be a troubled place, but dare to struggle with imperfectionists toward the brighter hope, that better day. Let memories add warmth, a heritage, a quilted patchwork stitched with history, a kindliness of daring for the good, of funny moments, jokes, smiles, and laughter, and tears. This is a precious place, as every home is, that shelters those who love and strive and share. Its blessing is in lives that meet within these walls, in living, in the learning, in the caring that is sheltered here. So coming home, stewardship within a spiritual community takes many forms. We can offer our commitment to stewardship by donating our time, our talent, and our treasures. All three are welcome, all three are needed, and all three are valuable. But today is the day to talk of our treasure. Yes, it's that time of year for each of us to review and reevaluate our annual financial commitment to UUCY. It's that elephant in the room. It's that regular monthly contribution that keeps our doors open and our house available to all who want to call UUCY their spiritual home. Over the next 8 weeks, we will explore what a spiritual home means to each of us as individuals, as a community, as an outreach ministry, as a warm and welcoming place, as a place of support and celebration for all of life's moments. It's our hope that you will feel as if we're taking this journey together, exploring ideas together that contribute to making a spiritual home a place of meaning for all of us. And we will have our little herd of elephants to accompany us as our mascots for the duration. You'll be amazed to learn what really goes on here. I know I was when I started digging into the details of the UUCY. You'll be amazed at how our small but mighty congregation comes together to do some amazing things over the course of 365 days, each and every year. And we will invite your input, ask you to lend your voice, your creativity, to help define the true meaning of coming home. We hope there's some fun along the way as well. Our journey will start from the ground up. Of course, we can't have a home without building one first. So next week, we'll start right out celebrating our cornerstones and our foundations. We can't think of growing our home without considering how we nurture those foundations. Nurture each of us as individuals and as a family. From that strong foundation and chosen family bond, we will ask, how do we come together to form an integrated community? The following week, we'll reflect on how we share our community, that power, our gifts, our resources with our larger beloved York, PA, and the world. Of course, a home would not be a home without gathering for the hellos, the goodbyes, the celebrations, the ceremonies, those things that make life a lived experience. And lastly, we will explore what it means to sustain ourselves, our relationships, our community, our home. We're pleased to say that our board has already submitted their stewardship pledge commitment for the year. And by now, you should have received your stewardship pledge packet in the mail. It contains all the forms you need to commit and set up an auto withdrawal. We strongly encourage the use of the auto withdrawal feature, which can be set for weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly payments. Don't hesitate to reach out to Mary or myself if you have questions or need help with the forms. All of our contact info is right there on the pages. This year, we have included a time and talent survey in the packet. Your time and talents are greatly needed and appreciated to help build our volunteer pool. It's all due by the end of March, 8 weeks from now. And by then, it's our hope that the journey we take coming home over those next weeks will transcend the idea of stewardship, that elephant in the room, as just a regular monthly financial contribution, to something that is more of an intention that has grown in your life and in your heart with ease and grace. We hope that you will feel as if you have truly come home.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Our reading today is influenced by a writing by Laura Wallace, The Determined Seed. As frozen earth holds the determined seed, this sacred space, this sacred home, holds our weariness, our worry, our laughter, and our celebration. As we consider planting the seed of stewardship, let us bring seed and soul into the light of thought and the warmth of community and the hope of love. Let us see together, hear together, love together. Let us come home together.
I've always liked the phrase, more than the sum of its parts. It's a simple statement that can bring to mind something really profound. For instance, like if you look at a mosaic, it's these little tiny pieces of glass and stone and the mortar they're held in. But when you step back from it, it can be a truly breathtaking work of art. One of my very favorite things about the grounds here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of York is our labyrinth. When I began seminary, one of the first friends that I made there loved labyrinths. They shared this love with our study group, and we started making a habit of seeking out labyrinths whenever we were together. My internship congregation also had a labyrinth, and before the pandemic, the pagan group there would host a monthly labyrinth walk on the night of the full moon. When I was working as a hospital chaplain as a part of my training for the ministry, there was a volunteer who set up a canvas labyrinth a few times a month so that patients and their families could use this practice for prayer and for meditation. There were also finger labyrinths available, carved out of wood or stone, so that those with mobility challenges could still trace the contemplative pattern of the labyrinth. But I'm not exaggerating to say that the labyrinth here at UUCY is one of the most beautiful that I have ever seen. It's the setting, but mostly, for me, it's that mosaic at the center. That flaming chalice, the symbol of the living tradition of Unitarian Universalism, holds that same magic of every mosaic, something more than the sum of its parts. And it's my faith I see reflected there. All are welcome to share in our labyrinth, but there's even more there for those who find a spiritual home within this broad and welcoming and beautifully imperfect faith tradition. As you know, I am writing and recording this ahead of time, so I don't yet know what the story that Matt has selected for the Time for All Ages is for the start of our stewardship campaign. This year, our theme is coming home, which I love. But when I was thinking about a stewardship homily, I kept thinking about one of my favorite greater than the sum of its parts stories, Stone Soup. I feel fairly confident in assuming that most of us know the basics of this story in some form, but to give a quick recap. Some hungry travelers arrive in a town where the residents are hesitant to feed them. They take a large cooking pot to the stream, fill it with water, and place a stone in the pot. They set the pot to boil on a fire out in the village square where everyone can see them, and as you know, people get curious, like they do. Each curious person asks how you make soup with a stone, and of course they're each told that a little tiny addition makes a richer soup. So one person puts in a carrot, another an onion, another a stew bone, and it keeps going and going until there is a big pot of warm and tasty soup for all to share. The mild deception of the travelers, we are going to make soup from a stone, is turned into a truth by the villagers who participate. Together, they make something more than the sum of the parts. None of them could on their own make a soup out of the single ingredient that each one of them contributes. Yet everyone adds something of value, and that value is not contingent upon size. A potato is larger than a good pinch of salt, but both are valuable to the soup. Of course, the beauty of the story is that everyone, not just the hungry travelers, gets to partake of and enjoy and be nourished by the soup. But something else is created that day, other than soup. And this is the real, greater than the sum of its parts moment. They create community. The travelers who arrive are not welcomed at first. They are strangers. But as people in the village engage with their curiosity first, not making assumptions, but asking questions, they also begin to create a bond. When I think about the story, I like to imagine that even neighbors who might have known each other to just say hello to for years may now find themselves talking more, laughing more, sharing the food and the experience of the day. And think about what must happen in the months after that day, the day the strangers arrived and showed them how to make stone soup. The actions create a bond that nourishes the soul as much as the soup nourishes the body. Now, in the story, of course, the travelers move on from the village. But when I think about coming home, about building the kind of community we want not only to enjoy ourselves, but also to make inviting and welcoming to others, not just now, but for years to come, I think the very act of creating that community is nourishing to us. It feeds us. The act of giving becomes an act of co-creation. As you know, a home is also more than the sum of its parts. A home isn't just cement and lumber, drywall and nails and shingles. A home may be made of many things and may not be contained within one physical space at all. And that is the kind of beautiful spiritual home that we build together here. I'm so glad and grateful for our stewardship leads, Mary Rosario and Sue Bupp, for their attention to the wholeness of our home. And I'm glad for their act of co-creation with our talented staff and tech teams of this beautiful worship service today. And I want to invite you to think about the kind of spiritual home you want to come home to, the kind you might want to invite others to share in, the kind that we all co-create together as an act that is not only generous to others, but also nourishing to ourselves. The flaming chalice mosaic at the center of our labyrinth is not a hidden treasure. It's exactly the sort of thing that gets people curious. It's part of the greater thing that we create together as a community of faith. All are welcome to partake. And when one feels welcome enough to contribute, that contribution nourishes us all, now and for the years to come. As we consider all there is to cherish about our spiritual home, let us hear our talented choir share "Cherish the Flame."
Questions, our passions and fears. So here we are to share our joys and tears. We'll carry on the stream of forebears unseen, braving new frontiers. Each voice is an instrument. Together we're a choir,
At this time, in our service each week, we invite you into generosity. This congregation relies on the time, the talent, and the treasure of its members and friends in order to maintain our community, to grow our capacity, and to thrive both now and in the years to come. It is the practice of this congregation to share each week's offering with an organization serving our community that upholds our values. We use Share the Plate to honor our commitment to service to our local community through these generous donations to local partners. February's Share the Plate partner is Valley Youth House. Valley Youth House provides a catalyst for youth to achieve their desired future through genuine relationships that support families, ensure safe places, and build community connections. They envision a world in which every young person belongs to a nurturing community. Critical funds raised will help provide stable housing and the critical life skills that young people in York County who are homeless or experiencing housing instability after exiting the foster care system need.
Valley Youth House is all about being a catalyst of change in the lives of youth and their families. In the darkest days that children might experience or families might experience where they're not really sure where to go or how to get out of a situation, Valley Youth House is there, be it in schools, be it in homes, be it in their shelters, or in the homeless, be it in the streets. Valley Youth House employees are there working selflessly in 18 counties, helping them achieve their goals.
The transition from teen to young adult can be challenging, especially when faced with hardships or a pandemic. Here at Valley Youth House, our mission is to support the young people of York by providing caring adults to mentor and navigate the ups and downs. Valley Youth House has continued this mission throughout the pandemic, letting our youth, young adults, and community know that our doors are open, and they will stay open.
So we extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Join us in our chalice extinguishing song, 1057, Go Lift It Up.
Go lift it up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day. Go lift it up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day.
So as we prepare to go out into the world again today, I leave you with these closing words. We ask blessings on this, our church home. May this building be a tool to continue the good work of our helping hands, our loving hearts, our open minds. May this home be a safe harbor for all those who sail upon the sea of life, and a beacon of hope to those on rough waters. May this building be a garden rooted with truth, compassion, and love, blossoming into peace, liberty, and justice. We give thanks for the generous people, all of you, who make this possible. We're grateful for the continued benevolence of the universe that supports us. Let us not forget those outside our walls who still struggle with their own needs for shelter and nourishment. Nourishment of the body, nourishment of the soul. We ask blessings on this, our church home. Hymn number 1064, Blue Boat.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
So I think the saying goes, our worship has ended, but our service now begins. I always love that. So and just to say, I don't have any announcements. So, except to say, for my own announcement, my most heartfelt thank you to Gretchen, to Robert Felton, to Doug for his patience in our last-minute gyrations of panic, of inserting things and then not inserting things, and to Lisa for being part of our choir today, for Joel just standing in and being our pinch hitter chalice lighter. Great job. And just to all of you for being willing to consider and hear the stewardship message. I know sometimes it's a hot button. That's why we have the elephant in the room and our elephant mascots. Maybe it'll help lighten your hearts as you think about that. Thank you. Have a good Sunday.